All right, we are here at the MAAC Basketball Tournament down in Atlantic City. I will be keeping an eye on you guys this week with the Athletics Podcast. Instead of doing a formal interview, we're having a little video diary here at the MAAC Championships. First time down in Atlantic City. We'll take a look at the men's and women's teams, see what their week was like down here in AC. We will start off taking a peek at the women's basketball team. Let's take a look at some of their highlights from their first round matchup against the Monmouth Hawks. All right, we're back here after Iona women's basketball loses 69-60 in a thriller at the end of the first round of the MAAC tournament, joined by Austin Stellato. Austin, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Mike.
Not a problem. Let's start out right here. I mean, the end of this game was a thriller. I mean, they were down 16 this game, the Gales. What a comeback.
Yeah, Iona down as many as 16, able to storm all the way back. Got it to 4 points twice at 49-44 and then 63-59 with just about 30 seconds left. But, you know, when we were talking about it during the game, just wound up a little bit short. Ran out of time is really what it was.
Yeah, indeed. They did run out of time right there. I have to say, one person who stepped up at the end of this game, Deja Williams.
Yeah, Deja Williams, kind of a surprise. Her first time being in double figures since the first conference game of the season. That's when she scored 20 against Quinnipiac, had 16 this afternoon. Gales really looked to go through her inside in the second half, and she got to the free throw line, really kind of willed her way into the scorebook and willed the Gales back into the game.
Yes, they did. Another senior stepped up in her last game as a Gale, Morgan Rayque, 17 points, 12 rebounds, double-double. What an effort.
Yeah, I mean, with Juana Camilleon in foul trouble pretty much since the get-go, Morgan Rayque had to pick up the load for this team today. And, you know, she showed out. She showed up, 17 points, 12 rebounds. Can't really ask much more out of a senior in what could be very well her last game, definitely her last game in the maroon and gold. But, you know, she showed up and played one of her best games of the season, I think.
Yeah, we'll be interesting to see what happens with this team going forward. Austin, thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, Mike. Anytime.
All right, back here, Athletics Podcast, wrapping up day one of the tournament, back with Austin Stellato again. How are you?
I'm good. A little tired. Late night here in Atlantic City.
Indeed, but you know what? Men's team gets a win, 70-60 over the Canisius Golden Griffs. Third time's the charm, indeed.
Yeah, I mean, it's three straight. You know, they sweep the series against Canisius in the regular season. They get it done here tonight. A gritty victory. It was close, pretty much wire to wire. The Gales had that 4-point halftime lead, able to extend it down the stretch, and a nice win for them. And they're moving on. That's what it's all about.
They are moving on. A nice two-man attack here from E.J. Crawford, Isaiah Washington.
Yeah, 49 points between the two of them. The team just scored 70, so a lot of the points coming from those two individuals. And, you know, I really like the way Isaiah Washington played tonight. E.J. Crawford, Twanegi in foul trouble most of the game, especially in the second half. He was kind of that level-headed, especially in the second half. Got it done, got to the free throw line, made some big shots down the stretch.
Indeed. Now they get a third shot at St. Peter's. St. Peter's beat them by combined 4 points the first two times. What do you think has to change third time around?
I I think they just need to finish ball games, and that's something that they have struggled with in the regular season, but something we saw maybe a little bit different here tonight is that they were able to close out a close game. And as you mentioned, both of those games against St. Peter's, very close games, total of 4 points. It came down to the last shot in both of those games. So I think if Iona can just finish it, stay strong towards the end, play a full 40 minutes, they could be moving on to the next round.
Indeed. It's going to be a lot of fun here today. You want to come back tomorrow and do this again?
Oh, absolutely. Wouldn't miss it.
All right, back tomorrow, day 2, Austin and I, after men's basketball against the St. Peter's Peacocks. All right, back here in the team hotel for day number 2 of the MAAC Tournament, back with my good buddy Austin Stellato. How are you?
Doing well. How are you doing, Mike?
Pretty good. We just saw you talking to Coach Ricky Johns. What do you have to say about tonight's matchup against St. Peter's?
I think the one thing that he really stresses that Iona needs to play tough tonight. They need to play a full 40 minutes, play their A game is what he was talking about. So it's about playing physical, playing tough, and being all in for all 40 minutes.
Indeed. And he also had some words to say about Tawan Agee.
Yeah, he said Tawan particularly needs to have an A game. He got into foul trouble last night, so a little bit more of a quiet night out of Tawan. But 17 points, 10 rebounds in the St. Peter's matchup just a week ago. So could have looked to him to have a big night tonight.
All right, that's all for now. We'll come back to you after the game. We're going to head over to the arena in just a bit. All right, we are back here on the court after the Iona-St. Peter's second-round matchup, and boy, Austin, tough ending once again.
Yeah, I mean, first off, just what a game, back and forth, both teams really grinding it out, and tonight's game pretty much went like the other 2 St. Peter's games against Iona, down to the wire. All 3 of these games that they squared off against each other this year, each coming down to the final St. Peter's possession, and each time St. Peter's coming out on top.
Yeah, St. Peter's comes out on top three straight times in the final seconds. And we'll say the Iona fans, Drive for 5 is over, but next year you got a good core coming back. Isaiah Washington, Isaiah Ross, Dylan Van Eyck, all play big roles tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at Isaiah Washington in particular, 24 points last night, 16 here tonight. So, the future is bright with the guys that you've mentioned. And, as Iona likes to say, it's always a reload, not a rebuild. Obviously, you're losing some big pieces. You're losing E.J. Crawford. You're losing Tawan Agee. Those guys are very, proven players in this Iona system. But they still have a very core group of guys returning.
Yeah, obviously, we're signing out here. This is the end of the video diary. A couple of days at AC. How do you think it went?
I think it was a fun experience being down here. Obviously, I think you and I both would not have minded staying an extra day or two. But beautiful venue here, historic Boardwalk Hall, and can't really say much else than that.
All right, once again, Austin, thanks again for being my guest on this visual diary through the MAAC Tournament for us.
Absolutely, Mike. Happy to do it.
All right, there you have it. It's our visual diary of the MAAC Tournament for the Iona Gales.